What happens when one of Hollywood's most relaxed stars loses his cool on live television? Jason Momoa, the man who brought Aquaman to life, found himself in a confrontation so explosive that security had to escort him off the Clarkson show. This wasn't a simple celebrity meltdown. It was a full-blown clash that left the audience stunned, the crew scrambling, and the entertainment world talking for weeks. And it all started with one question. The Clarkson show was running like clockwork that afternoon. Kelly, wearing a vibrant purple blazer, laughed and chatted with the audience during a commercial break. Her energy filled the studio, her smile bright as ever. The floor director signaled, "We're back in 3, 2, 1, and the cameras rolled. "Welcome back to the Clarkson show," Kelly announced, turning toward her guest with her signature warmth. "I'm here with the incredibly talented Jason Momoa. Jason, thank you so much for being here today." Jason leaned back casually in his chair, long hair loose over his shoulders, wearing a simple black t-shirt and that familiar easygoing grin. "Thanks for having me, Kelly. Always a pleasure." Kelly dove in. "So let's talk about your latest project. You've been exploring some really interesting roles lately, but I have to ask, there's been some talk in the industry about your approach to certain characters." Jason's brow lifted. "What kind of talk?" "Well," Kelly said, glancing at her notes before returning her gaze to him, "some critics suggest you rely heavily on your physical presence instead of fully exploring the emotional complexity of your characters. You're charismatic, you have amazing screen presence, but do you ever feel typecast?" The question hung in the air. Jason's relaxed posture stiffened. "I'm sorry. What exactly are you trying to say here?" "I'm not saying anything negative," Kelly replied quickly, trying to soften her tone. "I just wonder if the industry sometimes limits actors based on appearance. So you're asking if I'm just a pretty face who can't act?" Jason's voice remained calm but carried a sharp edge now. "No, that's not what I'm saying," Kelly said, flustered. "I think you're incredibly talented. I'm just asking about the challenges of being known for action roles." Jason leaned forward, hands clasped, voice steady but tense. "Kelly, I've been acting for over 20 years. Dramas, indie films, blockbusters. I've worked with some of the most respected directors. So when you suggest I'm coasting on my looks, that's insulting to me. Every director, every writer, every actor I've worked with." The studio went silent. The friendly, light atmosphere evaporated. Kelly's smile faltered. "Jason, I didn't mean to imply you're not skilled. I just wanted to talk about the industry. Navigate my career?" Jason's voice rose. "You want to talk about careers? Let's talk about how hosts think they can psychoanalyze guests live instead of promoting their projects professionally." Cameras shook slightly as operators glanced at one another nervously. Producers gestured frantically. Kelly's face flushed. "Jason, I think you're misunderstanding. This is a conversation, not an attack." Jason's laugh was sharp, humorless. "A conversation? You call questioning my credentials a conversation? Maybe we should have a real conversation about how you built your career on a singing competition and somehow decided that qualifies you to critique other people's artistry." The audience gasped audibly. Kelly's eyes widened. "Excuse me. I've worked incredibly hard to build this show and my career. I don't appreciate your attacks on my qualifications." "And I don't appreciate yours on mine," Jason shot back. "You've been riding the American Idol wave for 20 years. At least I've grown beyond my starting point." "That's unfair," Kelly snapped, losing her composure. "I've had a music career, television, and I built this show from scratch." "I work hard every day." "So do I," Jason said loudly. "But apparently that doesn't matter because you've already made up your mind about me." "Based on what, my size? The fact that I do action movies?" "I never said that," Kelly protested, but her voice wavered. "You didn't need to. It's implied. You see me and think, here's the muscle guy who can't handle Shakespeare. Newsflash, I've done Shakespeare, classical theater, indie films you've never heard of." The producer cut frantic signals for commercial, but Jason and Kelly were locked in. Kelly's voice rose. "You're twisting my words. I asked about typecasting, a common issue for actors. You made it personal." Jason suddenly stood towering over her. "You questioned my talent on national television and now call my response personal? You started this! You want to be a journalist? Be ready for honest answers." Kelly stood too, smaller but defiant. Sit down, Jason. You're being inappropriate. Inappropriate. His voice boomed. You ambushed me with questions about my acting instead of talking about my project. That's unprofessional. I'm professional, Kelly snapped. And professionalism is asking real questions, not just giving celebrities a platform to promote themselves. Jason's eyes blazed. Substance? You built your brand on being relatable, but the moment someone challenges you, your true colors come out. The audience sat frozen. Phones were discreetly raised, despite rules against recording. My true colors? Kelly's voice shook. At least I'm not melting down over a question. This isn't a meltdown, Jason snapped. This is defending my work. Something you wouldn't understand since your career is handled by managers. That's enough, Kelly said sharply. We need a break. No, Jason stepped closer. We're not taking a break. You wanted a conversation, so let's talk about professionalism. How you ambush guests to create drama. I never ambushed anyone, Kelly said. I ask thoughtful questions audiences want answered. Thoughtful? Jason's voice dripped with sarcasm. It was a cheap shot dressed as journalism. Security moved closer to the stage. Kelly's voice cracked. Maybe this is why people question your range. You're showing who you are without a script. Jason's fists clenched. And you're showing everyone you can't handle being challenged. You're embarrassing yourself, Kelly said. Jason laughed bitterly. No, you turned this into an interrogation. Security reached the stage. Sir, step back. I am calm, Jason said, towering. Just defending myself. Jason, please, Kelly pleaded. Leave. You want me to leave? Fine, but viewers will see what kind of host you really are. Guards positioned between them. Kelly pointed to the exit. This interview is over. Jason's expression hardened. You attack my career and then have me escorted? That's professionalism? They gently guided him toward the exit. He glanced back, eyes burning. A real host would have apologized by now, but I guess that's not in your playbook. Kelly stood rigid behind her desk, chest rising rapidly, watching the stunned audience process what they'd just witnessed. Finally, her voice steadied enough for the cameras. We'll be right back after this commercial break. The lights dimmed, the cameras cut. A simple question about typecasting had escalated into one of the most unforgettable clashes in daytime television history. So what went too far first? Kelly's question or Jason's reaction? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories of what really happens when the cameras are rolling and the masks come off.